All right, welcome back to Central Valley Buzz. I'm your host, Chuck Leonard. Who wants to go see Maleficent this Wednesday night at Manchester? If you want to, call 579-1360 and ask for Schuler when you call. And what do you say?
You're not the father.
You're not the father, and you could be the winner. Now our next guest running for Judge, Rachel Hill. Rachel, hi. How's it going? Nice to see you.
Very well. Thank you very much. Nice
now,
to
how's
see you.
things going in the judge race?
It's going great, actually. It's a long haul, and I'm hoping it continues even longer. Well, unless I get 50% plus one, but with 5 of us in the race, I don't think it's that likely.
So you don't think there'll be a runoff? You think you'll win outright?
Well, I think there'll probably be a runoff. Although I guess I'm supposed to say that I think I'll win outright, but it's hard with 5 people in the race.
Now, how long have you been in Fresno?
24 years, actually, right after law school.
And where'd you grow up at?
I grew up on Long Island, New York, and then I went to Notre Dame for law school and was recruited by a firm out here, McCormick Barstow, and
awesome.
And I've been here now the last 24 years.
And you're married?
I am. I've been married to my husband, John Skiles, for the last 11 years. I adore him, and I'm very, very proud of him as well.
Okay, so coming out of college, what kind of law did you practice?
Initially, I practiced business litigation, so it was commercial litigation related to all kinds of commercial disputes, whether they involve CEQA regulations, water issues, environmental regs, contract disputes, probate matters, a lot of different civil matters that people can get themselves involved in.
And so you get recruited out to Fresno, and that's the first thing you start working on?
Yes.
And then did you stay in that? Or?
I did not. I was there for 4 years, and I did a lot of research and a lot of writing, and I loved it, and I was very honored to work with that firm. They're a tremendous firm, and they have exacting standards, and it was definitely trial by fire, and I appreciated that because it definitely instilled even a stronger work ethic than I thought I had to begin with, which I think I had since I put myself through undergrad and law school. But I worked very hard, loved it, but I was passionate about the criminal justice system. So I ended
prosecuting
up,
or defending?
Yes. Well, actually, I've done both. I took a $10,000 pay cut in 1994 to go to the district attorney's office, and I was there for 10 years, and I was a prosecutor for 10 years, and I loved it. I was very passionate about it.
And what kind of cases were you covering for the DA?
Oh my goodness, every varietal imaginable. I did burglaries, robberies, homicides, domestic violence, terrorist threats, assaults, gang cases, all manner of cases while I was at the DA's office. And that was an incredibly fulfilling job and a very important job. I went on to defense work later on, which I'm very pleased that I did. I got to see the criminal justice system.
So you went privately as a...
I went with the public defender's office and the federal defender's office. And that was really fascinating to see a different perspective, to see people coming at the justice system from the other side, and to see the volume of people that were in the system for mental health reasons. There are a lot of people that are in the system because of undiagnosed or diagnosed but untreated mental health issues.
Are some of those people getting sent to prison?
A lot of them are getting sent to prison, and honestly, that's a travesty. We're not putting resources into the mental health system the way that we really need to, because one, it doesn't inure to public safety to simply incarcerate people for low-level offenses related to mental health issues, very often drug addiction, very often other substance abuse issues related to mental health issues. They self-medicate. They end up in the prison system. They come out actually usually more damaged than they were going in, because the prison system isn't designed to deal with those issues.
Right.
So those underlying issues never get resolved. And then when they do come out, then they're more damaged than they were the first time.
Right.
And so you end up with people who can be extremely dangerous, but it's simply fiscally an irresponsible way to do it. It's morally an irresponsible way to do it, and it's just not smart.
So are we talking about a little bit of your platform?
Well, that that is part of it. The fact is, I can't create legislation that puts more funding into our mental health system. However, there are a lot of things that are going on in the court system right now that I very much applaud. There are a number of judges that have been working tirelessly with other community leaders to get a lot more mental health resources directed toward the courts so that judges have options. And so when you're looking at people with what we refer to as dual diagnosis issues, there are more programs available that are intensive and that actually get to the root of the problem. Not something that just merely puts a Band-Aid on it for a temporary period, but actually helps address the root problem in a fundamental way.
Well, you talk about some of the things that you applaud that's going on
Yes.
in the justice system right now. There's got to be some things that you kind of want to change if you get in there.
Well, yes, I mean, a judge has, they've got a limited forum. A judge isn't making the law, you're not changing the law. What you're doing is you're dealing with the people that come into your courtroom. The things that I think I can impact to some degree, I can't completely, empty the jails or fill the jails with people who are dangerous and take out the non-dangerous criminals. But if you're in a home court, for instance, where you might have up to 120 felonies on calendar a day, you can essentially triage the cases and make an assessment, make a judgment call as to who is dangerous and who needs to take up the limited bed space we have, and who's not, and who could be diverted through other means, whether that's through a mental health court, whether it's through what I hope becomes a veterans court. Now that it is Memorial Day, that is something that I hope we get a dialogue going on about a veterans court, because it's sorely needed. You have a lot of people in the military coming back with significant difficulties that they did not have before they left. And they can be better treated and more humanely treated, and we owe it to them to put them through a different route through the system.
Well, let's talk about that a little
Yes.
bit. You're talking a veterans court just for the vets?
Yes, you have a whole host of problems with veterans that come back that are somewhat unique to them. And to have a court dedicated to that, I think, is extremely important, because
To have someone there that understands.
absolutely. And when you see the number of people that have come back from serving overseas and giving everything they have to us, and coming back in pain, in significant pain, and sometimes they act out antisocially, sometimes they act out in terms of just being completely self-destructive, but they weren't that way before. And they are now, and we owe it to them to try to get to the root of that problem and help them out.
Yes, we do. Now, when you decided that you want to run for judge,
Right.
how many people told you were nuts?
Probably most people I knew, except my husband, who I have to blame because he suggested that I run. So now I question whether he truly loves me as much as I love him. But yeah, some people did. But it's an odd process. Running for judge is a very strange process. There are benefits to running, and there are benefits to being appointed. Both, there are two different ways people can become a judge. One is being appointed by the governor, and the other is running for election. And both processes have good points and bad points. I think one of the bad points of running for judge is that you don't have, the people in the community don't have the opportunity very often to get to know the candidates, get to know much about us. So they might see our signs out on the street, so name recognition becomes a huge thing, which really isn't the best way to pick a judge. And with 5 of us in the field right now, major news outlets aren't as anxious to have candidate forums. So I'm actually very grateful that you are paying attention to this, because other candidates should come on, and it's very helpful, I think, if people get an opportunity to see who we are, what it is we stand for, and it be more than just name recognition.
Well, before we take off, Rachel, what I'd like you to do is look right at that camera and tell the people of Fresno why they should vote for Rachel Hill for judge.
Well, my name is Rachel Hill, and I do think that you should vote for me for judge because I am passionate about the criminal justice system. I have been an attorney for the last 24 years. I am currently teaching at the San Joaquin College of Law. I've taught constitutional law, legal ethics, criminal law, and juvenile justice. I have spent the last 24 years developing expertise in the many areas of law that will affect you and your family, and I will preside over the cases before me with integrity and always, always with the best interests of the community at heart. Thank you.
Rachel Hill, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on The Buzz. Stick around.